So here's the deal. Yaki called me yesterday and said that the conference, which should have been operated or should have taken place June 2nd and 3rd, would not occur due to the corona situation. That's obvious. Now, in the face of that situation, we have two, or he has two options. One, of course, is to run a Zoom-based mode of encounter, which, look, it's really trivial. Everybody does that. I mean, that's the first thing one would think of. And then there's always the other way of thinking, okay, how do I take care of such a new, unexpected situation where we could invent something in the light of the difficulty? It's always that the hardship is the mother of all inventions, right? So the point is, how do I think of something new because of this dire strait? How do I come up with something I couldn't think of it before? And what he told me was really fascinating, because he said, listen, I want to do something which nobody did before. I want to run a narrative-based conference, obviously based on streaming, but think of 3 studios operating simultaneously in 3 locations in the world. They have to be spread all over, right? So one would be Israel, obviously, because that's what we are. The other one, which got me really excited about the idea, is that it has to be in Italy. There's something symbolic about the idea that it has to be, against all odds, in Italy. And I think that's crucial. And then the other one, as far as I'm concerned, could be anywhere. It doesn't really matter. Anywhere in the world. But the point is that the idea is to run 3 studios simultaneously and run them like a narrative-based show. Think of any program that you like that is based on a narrative, meaning not only on people who come up and give their talk, but on a more complex structure where you as a viewer is engaged to the extent you wish to be engaged in the story that this complex encounter offers you. So that studio in itself, operating under the available conditions, I think is what Yaki Dayan calls the call of the hour. Because if we're in the business of education and technology and education, et cetera, I believe that his call, and I believe from where I look at things, the ethical perspective, that this is the call to innovate and to think, what is the essence of the encounter between education and technology? And for me, is not to surrender to the difficulties and the hardships and say, okay, let's do whatever just to float on the water, but let's rise above it. And rising above it is transcending obviousness and putting in front of your face a challenge which is almost unthinkable. Because in the conditions we're facing right now, to produce such a studio, I would say you must be nuts. You know, it's like almost doing the unthinkable. Everything is shut down. Everybody knows that. But that's what makes it so interesting on the one hand, and to me, and excuse my language, ethical on the other hand, because it's a call. It's a calling to our industry and to the meeting and the joining and the conversation between education and technology to rise above the tendency to fall into despair. Do the unthinkable and show that technology indeed can overcome the difficulties of the material reality of our lives. And I think this is a strong message, both to the companies who run, the people who will invent the next generation of ideas, and us, educators, people who work with the young generation. Because I think that what we're facing right now is the need to come up with a message, with a meaningful message. And for me, the message is we can do the unthinkable. And I think that it's one of the best ideas I've heard in a long time. So if you think like me, let's join hands and just do it together. We can do it.